Hello and welcome to The Big Picture. I'm Tracy Shilshi. Now today our focus is back to Nagaland, where nearly 3 weeks after chaos broke out on the streets of Kohima and Dimapur, Chief Minister T.R. Zeliang seems all set to step down. On Thursday, 38 legislators of the ruling Naga People's Front appended their signatures in support of the proposing party president Shirozile Lezitsu to take over as the next Chief Minister of the state. Of course, reports claim Zeliang, who was in Delhi to apprise up the centre, in fact, of the developments, has asked for 2 to 3 days to hand over the reins. Nagaland has been in turmoil since the state government decided to hold urban body elections in 12 towns. The elections were later declared null and void. Three people, though, were killed and many injured following the clashes that broke out between police and the public who were opposing those civic polls. Helping us understand the developments better, we have in studio today Amolak Rattan Kohli, a former Governor of Mizoram and also Meghalaya as well. We also have Balgopal, who is the former Advocate General of Nagaland, and also Kalyan Baruah, who is the Chief of Bureau, Assam Tribune. Thanks so much to all of you for joining me here. If I could start with you first, Kalyan, is this the best solution that one could think of at the moment, looking at the situation in Nagaland?
I'm afraid not, because the situation as it is very volatile. The change of leadership at this point of time, I don't know how it is going to help. Because Nagaland has been burning on this issue of women's reservation, 32% reservation. And Zeliang, though he failed to manage in a way the situation in the state, he had been holding on his own. But at this point, the change of leadership, how it is going to help the Naga agitators or for the matter to resolve the issue is a little difficult to understand.
You don't think that the very fact that insurgent groups are also saying that they're going to, break that ceasefire pact if he doesn't step down, that is not putting any pressure on the government?
Insurgent group in Northeast, not only in Nagaland, in other states as well. In Assam, they act as pressure points. They have their own agenda to fulfill. So they act as, but if you keep on following what the insurgents say, then there will be no end to it. So politically, the insurgency, first of all, I find it very strange. The insurgent group does not believe in democracy. And then they try to topple government, then they side with political parties.
Yes.
I mean, what exactly is their ideology? If you don't believe in the political system, in the democracy, then why are you involved in democracy? Why are you pressurizing political parties? It is not only it is unique to Nagaland, it is other states also the same thing. In Manipur, for example, in Assam, for example, they have always been playing a role. And that is a very dangerous signal, actually.
Absolutely. Mr. Balgopal, do you agree with what Kalyan is saying, that it really doesn't make much difference if they have a change in leadership at this point?
See, as far as changing Mr. T.R. Zeliang is concerned, I think in all fairness, the time has come for him to quit. And presumably he is going to quit. But in his place, placing Dr. Soluzile, that is no answer at all. Because as far as women reservation is concerned, there was a serious debate in the Nagaland Assembly in which Mr. T.R. Zeliang was the chairman of the select committee in terms of the Nagaland business rules, Rule 221A. They passed a unanimous resolution saying that Nagaland should be exempt from Part 9A of the Constitution, that is which pertains to municipalities.
Yes.
After he passed this resolution, the matter was put to vote before the Assembly, and the Nagaland Assembly passed a unanimous resolution saying not that the whole part of municipality law will be exempt, only the portion of reservation would be exempt. This was the position. Now, after having chaired the meeting and after having passed a resolution, the same Mr. T.R. Zeliang, after he becomes Chief Minister, without any change in the Naga laws, he goes back and then he says that yes, we will grant them reservation. Now, as far as replacing him by Dr. Soluzile is concerned, that is even worse. That is not going to solve the problem, because
why is that?
Dr. Soluzile was also, I think he was Minister of Urban at that time. I was myself in the Assembly when all these things were going on. And at that time, he also said that reservation should not be given to the women.
Okay.
Then, when he became the DAN chairman, that is of the ruling party.
Yes.
After he was a party to the unanimous resolution saying that women will not be given reservation, the moment he became DAN chairman, he took a diagrammatically opposite stand like Mr. T.R. Zeliang. And then he said that let them have reservation. So therefore, if the people are agitating against reservation, then Dr. Soluzale is not the solution. He's
Okay.
going to be a bigger problem.
Okay.
Therefore, we have to find a person who understands the real problem facing the Nagas, who can take them in their stride. Because after all, you make a commitment to the church, you make a commitment to the civil societies,
Yes.
and overnight you go against them. So this is a very, very sad aspect of what is happening in Nagaland.
Yes.
So some of these political leaders, to cling on to power, have been playing with the lives of innocent persons. That is why you should understand that as far as Nagaland is concerned, the people get together in no time. They unite and they come in one force.
Yes.
There is a great positive thing to that, because even the elected representatives are put to notice. That
Yes.
you are elected, that's fine. But if we get together, we don't have to wait for 5 years to come back to you.
Yes.
We'll decide your fate before that. So that is the positive aspect of it. So Mr. T.R. Zilang going is fine, but bringing in Dr. Soluzale will be the biggest mistake.
All right. Mr. Kohli, we did speak about this when we earlier discussed Nagaland as well on the big picture. You were of the opinion that, Mr. Zelang was just following orders. He was just following a court procedure. And if you look at it logically, he was just following orders. He was just doing what the law wanted him to do. Do you still maintain that position even after all these weeks of drama that's going on there, the chaos on the streets? Do you still feel that he should continue as the CM?
I wouldn't make any remarks on personalities. I'll go to the fundamentals. They got statehood. State is defined as an entity which is ruled by the process of law. Laws have to be observed, laws have to be followed and implemented. They can make laws also. After becoming a state, they got all these powers, which is a great devolution of power by the state of India. Now, in their own wisdom in 2001, they passed a law by the assembly to give powers representation to women 33%. It was passed, approved, it became a law. Then they didn't implement it. People went to the court, women associations, and they got an order from the High Court to implement it. The Chief Minister had to do it under the law. Now, if you are doing as pressure points in the society, then your credibility as a society will also go down over a period of time. You can't rule without law. You have the power, you are deciding, there is no role of government of India at all, or any other government. It is your government, you elect them. And that has to be honored. Now, changing the people midway is again bringing instability. If the underground people are acting as pressure points, that is still worse. That should not happen.
Yes.
It should be the free choice of people. If they are going to do once, they will keep on doing it again and again. That means Council of Ministers led by the Chief Minister will be always working under pressure from these people. These people are informal powers which are not encouraged.
Yes.
It should be the powers of the people. Yes, if people want to change, they come to
It
the
could be
street.
a positive, but it can be a negative.
No, it will
as
be
well.
always a negative. It cannot be positive.
Okay.
You may bring a correct change,
Yes.
but the method is wrong. That's what I want to say.
All right. You are saying, of course, laws of the land have to be implemented.
Absolutely.
But Kalyan, that is a criticism that the Zeliang, or maybe not the Zeliang government, but Mr. Zeliang himself has faced, at least by some activists there in Nagaland. I've been speaking to a few, and they claim that his closeness to the center, his need to go to the center, time and again for little issues, and that is perhaps something that is irking or irritating the Naga body. Is that something that you hear as well?
Yeah, it's a fact. He has, from day one, he has been acting on the back foot. I mean, he has been on the defensive.
Yeah.
For every small tidbit, he has to come to Delhi. In fact, that is most of the case with most of the northeastern chief ministers, because they are totally dependent on the center. But in case of Zeliang, he has been more dependent because of every small problem he has to keep rushing to Delhi, and that's sends a very wrong signal to the people. Why does he have to go to Delhi? Why can't he solve his own problem? And ever since he took over from Rio, I mean, he has been on the defensive. He has not been very assertive on issues. We hardly see him doing any or interacting with the media or something like that. So he has been on the defensive. Yes, you were right in that.
All right, Mr. Kohli would like to react.
You see, again, because I've been in Northeast for quite a few years,
Yes.
It is their government. All the resources of the state belong to Nagas, whether it is land, water, energy sources, space, and even air. It's a beautiful area, God-gifted area. They have to make plans to make themselves prosperous and ensure. And when you are talking about state has to do three functions. Maintenance of law and order, which means physical, emotional, and financial security of every citizen. That's important. Collection of revenue for the state. They have to generate revenue. That's how they can run the state government and try to become independent on their own. They might have taken a political independence, but what about economic independence?
Yes.
How long they can remain on center? Center will keep on giving. I remember in the year 2004, January, in a seminar in Guwahati, I slammed the Northeast states. I said, you were neglected sons of Mother India, all the states. Neglected children of Mother India. I told them at that time, Government of India has given you so much money. Today I say, you are spoiled and pampered children of Government of India.
But that's just the government. It's not the people who are spoiled.
Now what has happened?
Yeah.
All the money which has gone to few families and few chosen people. It has not gone to that. Now let us compare with Mizoram. Mizoram doesn't have any hunger. Mizoram does not have any malnutrition. Mizoram does not have even illiteracy. And they are comfortable people. That's why democracy is stable there. They are not changing the government. Lal Thanawala ran for 10 years. In fact, almost 10 years inning. Before that, Zoram Thanga ran for 10 years. Before that also, Lal Thanawala ran for 10 years. This is called political stability. Unless there is a political stability, you will keep on bringing down the governments. And government going down under pressure is not a solution. Nagas have to think that we have to become prosperous. They have to make plans and programs for which Government of India will definitely give them money. But you want money which is siphoned off, goes in the other places, then it's not desirable.
Well,
That's my view.
that is in fact a topic of the northeastern states that we go on and on about, isn't it? You coming from Assam, me coming from Manipur. That's perhaps the main grouse that we have as common citizens there. But Mr. Balgopal, talking about, yes, you were saying, of course, how taking away the CM, bringing a new person, but within the NPF itself, and that also someone like the doctor, is this also a way to avoid president's rule? Because that is a big problem, which of course a lot of people were anticipating. They have been watching very carefully how developments have been there. We do understand the Home Ministry of course has been constantly asking for reports. Once in the beginning of February as well, recently, even yesterday they met as well. Is that something that's also on the back of the NPF, and to avoid that they perhaps come with a stopgap arrangement?
The question of president rule in Nagaland does not arise. That's ruled out. It's just unwarranted apprehension that is being injected into the present crisis. We will not have president's role there at all. The question would be of leadership in the Legislative Assembly. Now, we have to understand, when people criticize Nagaland, one thing we have to understand about the Nagas, they will come with you if you understand them.
Yes.
If you understand them, they will understand you. You can't dictate to them. That would be wrong. Now, I will just give you, at the cost of a little digression.
Yes.
When this litigation started, and when the matter went to court, the question arose, should we straightaway impose this reservation or not? So, when we pointed out to the court that we want the assembly to look into it, to refer it to the committee,
Yes.
take the views of all the tribals, of all the women organizations, let their representations be scrutinized. After that, the select committee can give its recommendations. Then it is up to the Legislative Assembly to accept or reject it. This is the long run procedure. When we went to court at that time, when we pointed out these facts, the High Court took the view that this is a very balanced act. You go back to the Assembly, let them discuss at length, let them discuss with all seriousness, taking into factor all the interests of the people.
Yes.
And thereafter, let us make a decision. So this matter was stayed by the High Court at this stage. After detailed deliberations, after taking into consideration conflicting views of
Yes.
different persons, the Legislative Assembly came to the unanimous conclusion that as far as reservation for women is concerned, that cannot be granted because that is against the customary practice. Now the question for consideration is, who will decide what is the customary practice? The court is not going to sit in judgment of what is Naga customary practice.
Yes.
It is the Naga Hoho tribals,
Yes.
those people who are well versed with it. They will decide what are the customs of Nagaland. Correct?
Yes.
So they had taken a decision that this is not in tune with our customary practice.
Yes.
Nagas are not saying that women are inferior to them.
Yes.
Women are equally important and they are almost equal to the men. They contribute in every sphere of life. Therefore, a large section of people believe that if you give them reservation, you're showing them in poorer light. So this was one of the factors which went into this decision.
Okay.
So when we speak of leadership, etc.,
Yeah.
when you took such a long time to take this decision that they will not be given reservation,
Yes.
the status, the same legislators led by Mr. Ziliong with the support of Dr. Sorizele, at the drop of the hat, without much discussion, they reversed this resolution
Yes.
and threw the state into chaos. This is one. Second, if I may have a minute more.
Yeah, please continue, sir.
You see, when you speak of reservation, people would say, how can there be reservation? I mean, why it should be denied? It violates fundamental rights. Customary practices have to give way to fundamental rights.
Yes.
So here, what we have to understand is, as far as the villages in Nagaland are concerned, we have 1,600 village councils. And as far as municipalities are concerned, as the Honorable Governor has said, we just have about 10-16 of them, town councils, municipalities. Now in this 1,600 village councils, there is no reservation for women according to the Indian Constitution. They are exempt.
Yes.
You see, Part 9A of the Constitution, that is not applicable to the state of Nagaland.
Yes.
That is what 243M of the Constitution says. Now, on the other hand, as far as 243T is concerned, where there is no specific exemption,
Yes.
are you going to divide Nagaland into a vast majority of women living in the tribal belts, saying that they will not get reservation, and a handful of women living in towns,
Yes.
so you will get reservation? So basically, if you are going to give reservation to women there,
Yes.
you will be violating Article 14 of the Constitution.
Yes.
That is equality before the laws and equal protection of the laws.
Yes.
Taking all these matters into consideration, the tribals had taken a decision
Okay.
that they need not be given reservation. So once they have taken that decision, now the question is, are you going to overturn it? I remember in the year 2006, the then Chief Justice of Guwahati, we had a system which he must be more, you will also be familiar with, where the executives discharge both judicial and executive functions.
That's right.
Whereas the Supreme Court has been very particular that there should be separation of executive, legislature and judiciary.
Yes.
So when this matter came up, I was also present at that time in 2006. Our political leaders, Chief Minister, Mr. Rio was there at that time, with various other judges, etc. So the Chief Justice then asked me, why don't you want this separation? Why don't you people fall in line?
Yeah.
Then I said, there is an apprehension that the Naga customs, social practices, religious practices,
Yes.
that can be tinkered with. So
Absolutely.
he made a very powerful statement.
Absolutely. And Kalyan, that, in fact, when we spoke, Mr. Kohli, you would remember, when we spoke about the issue at hand, the crisis that was unfolding in Nagaland, you know, we seem to have concentrated so much on the reservation for women, but we've, you know, something that we didn't delve into, and, you know, eventually the picture became larger, is that you tinker with something now, and it seems okay for now, but what if later you try to bring in more changes? And that is exactly what they're against. It's not like they're against the reservation for women, or they don't want women to you know, be part of the political system.
Yeah. That's what they have been saying.
Yes.
They have free to participate in the council, village councils, but they are not going to go for election with 30% reservation. To that extent, it is correct. But the whole fight, I believe, between the woman and this is the land and resources.
Yeah.
Because the women now feel that they are should be equal partner in the land and resources. I think the whole fight starts from there, and it has taken many shapes, as he has rightly pointed out. There are legal viewpoints.
Yes.
But then at the ground level, at the bottom line, is that the right over land and resources.
And it's unfortunate, isn't it, that the Naga the Naga Mothers Association now has been asked to be disbanded. You know,
yes.
it's what,
They made
30,
a very
40 years
strong
old now.
statement.
Yeah,
They made a
absolutely.
very strong statement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Mr.
I'll
Kohli.
add something. President rule is not a solution to any problem. It is in the rarest of rare situations when it should be imposed. Because president rule will always be considered that center wants to run the state by proxy. So it is not a solution. Second part, society has to evolve itself. Any society. Time has come when women have to be given their rights by society on their own initiative, rather than being asked forcibly or through reservation. The society has to decide. I am sharing with you, Tracy, in the 21st century, women are going to outdo men, because if you look at any Indian home, they are managed by women. And their system of management is care and concern for everybody, A, concern for the weakest member of the family. They are willing to sacrifice whenever the situation demands, and they get pleasure out of sacrifice. You will not see this kind of system anywhere in the world. If they are this method is replicated at the national and international level, this world will become a peaceful and a prosperous world.
Well, as women, as a woman, that is what I hope for,
And
isn't
women
it?
have to
But
have.
it's
There's no
easier
choice.
said than done, isn't it,
We
Mr.
have no
Kohli?
choice.
Yes.
They are strong emotional bonds.
Yes.
They were power structure of brutal force till 19th century, 20th. 20th century saw power structure moving from force to economics, money. Now money has also created a lot of inequalities in the world.
Yes.
Now this century is going to be through emotional bonds, where not much inequality, more equality, very little inequality has to come, and that only women can do, because they have concern for the weakest and they raise them up.
All right.
And the other person who's weaker now, then they go and raise them up.
All right.
That's the system.
We hope that positivity, of
Yes,
course,
it
shines
has to.
through across not just Nagaland, but the rest of the country as
Everybody,
well,
yes.
across the world. But we do have to talk about the current situation at hand in Nagaland. We are, of course, of the opinion, at least it seems to be, that this is just a stopgap arrangement, and we don't seem to feel that this is going to actually stop the crisis or the chaos across Nagaland. So what really is the solution then? And does this also mean a break in the NPF itself? Do we see that?
It depends what now it is imminent that Zeliang is on his way out. Now the next Chief Minister, Mr. Sijolo, as he has said, I don't know how he is going to handle it, because the things may have gone out of hand already.
Yeah.
Because they have all taken their stand, the opposition, the civil society group, and then there is the problem of militancy. There's the talks with NSC and IM, which has been going on since 1997,
Yes.
and no end in sight.
Yes.
So there are a whole lot of factors, whole lot of problems that the new Chief Minister will face. Over and above, he has to run to Delhi
Yes.
for resources, because like other Northeastern states, he's resource stuffed, and there are a lot of pressures in pool. I don't think, he said that he may not be able to handle the situation, but if it was a unanimous resolution, then who do they select as the next CM? Because they are all part of the same decision.
Absolutely. The only, it's a seat which doesn't have an
Because it was a
opposition. I mean, what do you
unanimous
really
decision,
do
they
in
are
a
all part of
situation
the
like this?
decision, and whoever you choose,
Yeah.
it will be part of the same thing.
Yeah.
So it looks, eventually I guess the center may have to step in at some level and try to, through the governor maybe, try to handle some of the situation through back channel. Otherwise it looks difficult.
All right. For the moment, Zeliang is on his way out. Is that going to keep people happy? That's something we need to watch.
We need to watch,
you know,
yes.
this entire week we've been watching what's unfolding in Chennai. But clearly things are, of course, not very different in Nagaland as well. The chair of the Chief Minister is dicey there as well.
Only 2 lines.
Yes.
Zeliang is going because the pressure from the people, it's a people's decision. I only pray these kind of decisions should not be frequented. The person concerned should be given an adequate chance to ensure that he delivers the goods. That's all.
All right. Legally, anything?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, again, one more point which I want to emphasize. You see, when the Nagas were never under the control of a Mughal ruler or of a Hindu ruler, and British exercised limited sovereignty over them. That's how you have these inner lines. So when India attained freedom, the Nagas said, we are very happy that you are getting freedom. We also want to have our freedom. Our culture is different, we are separate.
Yes.
And when the talks did not materialize, it was then Fizo, the leader, the famous leader, said
Yes.
that to live in peace, let us part. So at that time, Government of India decided that we should somehow bring Nagaland into the national mainstream. And they offered them a lot of concessions and rights in the form of Article 371A.
Yes.
Which gives the constitutional protection to their customs, to their practices and to the laws.
Yes.
So after having made these commitments to them, that you will live according to your culture, you will live according to your custom, now to say that you equate them for certain things with other people, saying now you follow that custom, you follow the right which is given to them, that is actually letting down the people of Nagaland. It is actually letting down the people of Nagaland. So we have to understand their problem in the right perspective.
Yes.
And we should not try to use any type of force.
Yes.
We should not try to compare that this is happening in that state, so it should happen here. No.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
People are absolutely transparent.
Yes.
And people are very kind at heart. I remember I used to be told by my political leaders, you fight in the court, we'll fight in the road. You stand by us,
Yes.
we'll give you your life. If you go against us, we'll take your life. That's a very transparent
In this
system
case,
of...
the demand for changes come from within the society.
within.
Yeah, within the
Yes,
society.
absolutely.
Yes,
We do hope that these voices of positivity are going to the people of Nagaland. They are watching us at this point of time, where we tell them that we do understand their problems, and you know, we hope that the political parties are also looking into what really goes into making a government as complex as a state for Nagaland. With that, of course, I'll have to wrap up the big picture here. Thank you so much to the three of you for joining me on this discussion. That's it from me for today. We'll join you again on Monday with another topic. Stay with us.